Hello there, can I help you?
Yeah, I'm here for the podcast.
Are you Tony Gunn?
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Sure, look.
Who put you up to this, huh? Who put you up to this?
Welcome to Ring Generals. I'm your host, Bruce Snyder. We're thrilled to be with Tony Gunn. Tony, good to see you.
Hey,
how you doing?
Doing great. Good to be here.
How's everything going in the ring?
Things are going really good right now. Can't really complain. If I did, no one would listen anyway. So.
Oh, well, we're all here to listen for you, so there you go.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I've seen you be a heel. I've seen you be a face. I've seen you be a tweener. You seem to play, or you seem to be excellent in all of those, for lack of a better word, roles. Before we get into which one you like better, how are you able to adapt and change so easily, or at least it seems so easily?
I don't know. It's just all situational. It depends on the story. Depends where I'm at as a character and how well I've developed with where I'm going. So thankfully, with Ohio Valley Wrestling and Al Snow, he kind of helps steer that ship, so to speak. But it's also up to the person that's in that ship as well to mandate that. So I don't know. I think it's just experience and being on both sides of that fence, working as a babyface and a heel, throughout my whole entire career. So I know kind of what it takes to be a heel and the tools for that, and the same on the flip side of that as a babyface as well too. So
Tony, you make it seem easy. I know it's not.
Well, I'm the best at what I do, so that's I guess it does seem pretty easy.
Which do you prefer?
It's fun being a face, but I tell you what, it's a lot more fun being the heel, being the bad guy. It's just you get to have more fun with it. You get to be a little bit more creative with what you do out there, and it's always fun to bend the rules. So I enjoy that side of it.
And as a heel, most of the time you're calling the match. You're setting the pace and the action, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this 17 years.
Yeah.
So being a heel, generally in the past, the heel leads the match. So I kind of take that, leading the match and taking that ring general spot and doing that. So it's a lot easier leading a match of being a heel versus being a babyface. So.
But you see, here's the difference. You said you've been doing it for 17 years, almost 2 decades, right?
Almost, yeah.
I'm guessing that the definition of a heel has changed tremendously in those 2 decades. A heel used to be someone that was hated. Used to be, if the heel was doing his job correctly.
Right. Yeah.
Nowadays, a lot of times, people think it's cool to cheer the heel, which must make it really hard if you're getting a reaction that you're not trying to get.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stemmed from the Attitude Era, when people started pushing that needle, so to speak.
The Attitude Era in the World Wrestling
right,
entertainment.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think that has a lot to do with it as well. But also the times have changed, in the aspect of a babyface and a heel. I still have that old school mentality as far as getting heat with the crowd and doing my job and making the crowd, hate me, whereas a lot of heels today, they're worried about getting their self over or doing cool moves or doing things out there in the ring that's going to highlight them. And in a sense, I'm not about that. So I don't want to go out there and do stuff that's going to outshine my babyface. Because if I go out there and do stuff that's cooler than my babyface that's in the ring, then I'm not going to do my babyface any justice. And I'm not going to do myself any justice in that manner as well, too. So I still have that old school mentality as far as working like a heel and making my babyface shine more than myself.
And that's interesting because it shows you're not about you. You're about you and your opponent and making the match all that it can be.
Takes 2.
But a lot of people forget about that. Or a lot of people are trying to put themselves over. And if their opponent gets over, also great. If not, well, as long as they get over. It's an attitude you didn't see very much of, back when you were starting. And just generally speaking, unfortunately, you see a lot more of it nowadays, especially with wrestling spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
Does that bother you?
I mean, Yes and no. It's just, you know, a lot of people say, well, wrestling has changed. You got to move with the times. In a sense, yes, you do. But still, you know, the selling point is you have to have a baby face, you have to have a heel. And what is that story that's causing that wedge between the baby and heel? What is the motive? What is the story? Without that, you have nothing. You're not gonna generate an audience. You're not gonna have a crowd. You're not gonna make any money. So, I mean, you can go out there and have these 5-star, my opinion, you can go out there and have these 5-star matches, and they're cool. Yeah, you'll get the golf claps and all that and fight forever stuff, but that long-term result doesn't sell long-term. My opinion.
Sure, and I mean you've got to come back. You can't just have that one match in a bubble and then be done with it. I mean, it needs to lead to something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that something that, when I know you've trained a lot of up and comers, is that something you try and get over with them? Is that something you make sure that they understand?
Yeah, I mean, I teach at OVW. I teach the intermediate level class, so my level is as far as is trying to get them through a basic match and teaching them basic psychology in the ring. So, but that's a lot of it, is teaching them the difference between being a baby face and being a heel, what to do as a baby, what not to do as a heel. There's little things that you do that set you off as a heel and a baby face, and those are the things that I try to teach my students.
Can you give me an example? And we'll just, obviously you and I aren't in the ring right now,
Sure.
So from a verbal standpoint, if I'm talking to, first of all, to face Tony Gunn, babyface Tony Gunn, what would your mannerisms be like? Would your body language change talking to me?
I mean, as far as me as being a heel?
No, being a babyface first, then we'll get into you being
sure.
a heel.
Being a face, you're always going towards your opponent. A heel always backs away from their opponent, all right? So that's one way as far as showing it a baby face and a heel. Heel always does this, baby always does this, right? A good example I can give you is a heel always tries to do something cheap or cheat to take advantage in the match, either behind the ref's back or when the ref's not seeing or watching. Another example could be, like, for example, if the baby face is really rocking and rolling on that heel and that heel wants to take advantage, you know, let's say that baby face is charging the heel in the corner. That heel can move, throw him into the post, right? So a heel throws you into the post. Usually at the end of a match, a babyface will pay back retribution, right? When a babyface pays back retribution, they're not going to take and throw their opponent into the post. Like, so let's say the heel is charging at the babyface in the corner. That babyface is just going to move out of last-second desperation, move out of the way, and the heel's going to take the post on their own. That's the difference between a babyface and a heel. Heel does the job. The babyface will move out of the way to try to even the odds on what the heel did to them.
How about a heel promo versus a babyface promo? I mean, the obvious one of being a little nicer as opposed to being a little bit more of a yutz.
You can still be nice as a heel as well too. It's all
really.
It's all
Can you give me an example?
It's all the mannerisms and what you say and what you put out there and what are you trying to get out of this promo? What things are you pulling to strike a nerve with somebody? Now, you don't have to be mean, you don't have to raise your voice or anything like that. You can still be nice and cunning and crafty and all that, but you don't have to be mean about it. But it's all what you're trying to strike. What's your motive that you're trying to strike? What are you trying to fuel from this person? Answer
this next question as a heel, as a hardcore heel, okay? So, Tony, really appreciate you spending time with us here, and I hope you're having as good a time as we are.
Am I having a good time?
I hope you are.
Do you really think I'm sitting in this chair and having a good time? Do you really think I want to be here right now?
I was hoping you would, yeah.
Do you really think I enjoy this? The only reason why I'm here is to get paid, and that's it. I'm going to do this and get out of here and get done. You got it?
Yes, sir.
So that's an example of what you would do right there.
That's good, and it's good how you turned it on, just like that. I noticed your body language changed. You got in my space just a little bit.
Yeah.
Without screaming and yelling.
Made you uncomfortable.
A little bit, yeah. So when you're trying to do a promo, either for an opponent or a big event coming up, how much time do you spend thinking on it as opposed to just letting it flow organically?
I guess it depends on, for me personally, it depends on the situation, like where are we at in the story and what when I set up a promo, I set up bullet points. I don't map out, the whole entire.
You're not memorizing a speech.
No, if I do that, I'm going to go out there and crash and burn. So I just do bullet points. Okay, I'm going to start with this, and then move on to this, and this. So I create those bullet points. So when I'm out there, I can let things flow a little bit more organic versus trying to memorize every single line that I've gone through. And then that way too, it's the same thing as structuring a match. Like I don't want to plan out A to Z. Like I want to have bullet points in my match, and then I can fill in the gaps wherever. And I do the same concept with the promo. So that way, if the crowd's not feeling it, I can shift in a different direction.
As someone who has taught public speaking for a bit, that's exactly what they teach you in public speaking. Don't try and map out your entire interview. Bullet points. Know the subject you want to hit, and that way not only are you not trying to memorize something, but it's going to sound a lot more natural because you're just being organic, in other words, and just kind of running through what you want to do.
So I mean, you watch promos, WWE promos now, where the guys go out there and everything is scripted verbatim, and you can tell it, like it's not them, and it's no knock to them. It's just that's the nature of that business there, and it's just that's something I don't agree with. You should be able to go out there and try to get the point across in your own words as your character. That's what I believe in.
How much fun is it when you hit your promo, you've hit it, and the crowd is reacting the way you want them to react? What does that do to you inside?
Man, it's like kicking a field goal. It's like winning the last second buzzer beater shot. It's I guess it's in that aspect. You have that feeling like that if you've ever experienced that in your life. So that's how it is. Like you hit a home run. And it's just, I know it's really hard to explain. Really.
You look like a natural athlete. Have you played other sports?
I mean, not collegiate, but like in high school, which was years ago. I mean, I did them all. I did basketball, baseball, tennis, track, football. So I did it all in high school. So
what was it about wrestling that grabbed you?
It's kind of weird. So I didn't start watching wrestling until like 97, 98, which is the Attitude Era, Stone Cold, Ken Shamrock, Triple H, Kurt Angle, all those guys. And all my buddies at the time, they were into it. I wasn't into it. And then they got me into it. And then for some reason I just fell in love with it. And I lived on a farm with my family. And I had the great idea. I was like, hey, let's build a ring in our backyard, or my backyard. And we built a wrestling ring, like a 20 by 20.
Really?
Yeah, I built a wrestling ring in my backyard. And my buddies would come over every weekend and we would play around and stuff like that. We'd actually put ourselves through actual trainings like how to take a body slam, a hip toss, an arm drag. We did all that stuff. And needless to say, a couple of years rolled by, we're seniors, and everyone else grew out of it, and I was the kid that never grew out of it. So,
do you know how rare it is to be able to live your dream?
Very, very rare. Very rare.
How does that make you feel?
Feels great because I know that I'm following what I want to do, and I won't have any regrets down the road. There's a lot of people that I've talked to in my field of teaching and other places as well too, where they gave up on their dreams because of life or just situations that's happened. And I'm thankful that I wasn't that person that gave up on my dreams. And I wish if anybody does have a dream, go out there and follow it. Okay, don't give up for any reason.
Speaking of your field of teaching, in case you don't know, this man, when he's not in the squared circle, is helping develop young minds and young bodies as a teacher currently at?
Currently it's with JCPS, Central High School.
JCPS, if you're outside the area, Jefferson County Public School. In other words, he teaches in the Louisville, Kentucky area at Central.
Yeah.
Central High School.
Yep, and I mostly have juniors and juniors and seniors, and I teach the advanced PE program there. So I have a lot of fun with it.
Do any of your students, I'm sure they've come up to you at some point and said something like, I watched you on TV and fill in the blank, like you were a total jerk, or, if you were playing a babyface, we were all behind you. Is it weird, these two worlds that intersect from time to time?
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny because I actually had a student come up to me last week. His name's Jaden, but anyways, he's like, Mr. Gunn, he said, He goes, I listened to your promo on OVW the other day. He goes, man, you're sick on the mic. He goes, you're such a bad guy or whatever. He goes, I didn't know you were like that. And anyways, that was just funny. It's just fun interactions that I had with the students where they're like, oh, wow, I see this different side of you.
Sure.
And I hear that from everybody. Like, you're like, Tony, you're totally different than what you are in the ring from what you are outside the ring. So, especially in the field of teaching.
Well, of course, if you had to run around snarling and, yelling at people, I mean, that would not only wear you out, but it would get old quick, not to mention the throat would get a little sore.
True. You're exactly right.
When you are wrestling, all right, a lot of people say, well, it's not real, it's not. To that I say, you don't know what you're talking about. Do you remember your first championship title victory?
Oh, yeah. Very, very well. Very well.
But how could you remember it if it's quote unquote not real?
Well, we can.
Obviously, I'm making a point.
The curtain's been pulled back, right? The onion's been peeled. We all kind of know the business has been exposed,
right?
But it's still real in the aspect of the physical aspect in and out of the ring, and what we put our bodies through, and what we go through on a daily basis. And it still is a contest in that ring.
Sure.
It's all not pre-planned, which is a lot of people think is crazy. But I do remember my first championship was the OVW Heavyweight Championship.
Was it Abyss?
I beat Abyss.
Okay.
I beat Abyss for the title. And I didn't know this, I was his last match when he went to WWE as an agent. So I did not know that.
And I would think it's a situation where you say to yourself, the company that I'm working for has enough faith in me that they're giving me the ball and letting me run with it, which has to feel good.
It does, and that's a thing that I don't take lightly, because they have given you this ball. You do have to run with it, and being in all the sports that I've played and everything else throughout my career, I know that everything's rests on my shoulders as far as trying to generate business, because that's the end result, is we're trying to generate business for this company. It's not just to feed our own ego, right? This is a business at the end of the day.
What do you tell someone that comes up to you and says, Tony, I want to do what you're doing, I want to be a wrestler?
If someone comes up to me and says they want to be a wrestler, I'll say run and go the other way. No, I'm just joking.
Then when you take your next breath.
No, if you're serious about wanting to become a professional wrestler, check out Ohio Valley Wrestling. We have one of the best training programs across the U.S. And if you can't make it here to Louisville, Kentucky to be a professional wrestler, to pursue your dream, at least find a reputable school that will train you. There's 1,000,001 schools out there that most of them are trash, but there's a lot of good ones out there. So please, please, please do your research and find a good school if you're serious about it.
A school that's interested in more than just money, right?
Right, yes.
Okay. All right, at this point, we'd like to test the knowledge of our guests. We have a little segment that we call Grappling with Trivia, all right? 5 questions, 5 wrestling questions. Let's see how you do, okay?
I already know I'm going to lose this.
Well, we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Remember the song, I Am a Real American?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's a song associated with Hulk Hogan. Right, but that's not the question, okay?
Damn, man, come on, that was a gimme.
No, you don't even get bonus for that.
Jesus.
But he was not the first to use it, okay?
Oh,
Who
man.
was, and I'll give you a choice, okay? The first to use Real American, was it Bob Backlund, the Road Warriors, the U.S. Express, which is Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, or Ric Flair?
Oh my God, my history is horrible.
Bob Backlund, the Road Warriors, the U.S. Express, Ric Flair.
Backlund?
Ah!
Who was it?
It was the U.S. Express. So
US
Windham and
Express.
Rotundo came into the WW. At that time, they were the WWF. They wanted to give them a push. That was the music they gave them. A few months later, those two left and went back to the NWA before it was WCW. And they were like, if we change the words just a little bit, it'll be perfect for the Hulkster. So, okay, let's try another one.
0-1.
Which wrestler did not spend any time behind bars at one point?
Oh,
Blackjack Mulligan, Mr. Saito, Bruno Sammartino, or Sonny?
Did not spend time behind bars.
Right.
Say that one more. Say the.
Which of these names were not in jail? Blackjack Mulligan, Mr. Saito, first name Masa Saito, the living legend Bruno Sammartino, or Sonny?
Bruno. Did I get it?
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, got
All
it.
the rest of them have been arrested for one reason or the other. Bruno now, as a young boy, lived in Italy, and he had to hide out from the Nazis, and that helped form who he was in terms of like being in great shape, and even up to his death, he was like just a hard body. So you're one for two.
1 for 1. Yeah.
1 for 2.
1 for 2. 1 for 2.
Speaking of Bruno, he was beaten twice for the WWF Championship. Name one of the 2 wrestlers to beat him for the title.
Got to get any guesses?
I can give you some guesses.
I'm saying my history is horrible.
Ivan Koloff, Superstar Graham, Ernie Ladd, Crusher Verdue.
Say those again.
Oh, comrade Ivan Koloff. Superstar Graham, the women's pet, the men's regret. Crusher Verdue, Ernie Ladd. I flip-flopped those last 2, but
Koloff.
Koloff beat him for the first time back in 1971, and then Superstar Graham beat him in 1977. Final question, okay? According to the internet, and you're going to have to give me this, I'm not going to give you any choices. When you debuted for OVW back in May of 2011, who did you team with?
Who did I team with?
Yep.
This is actually wrong because my debut was a dark match with Raul Lamada, but
we'll give him credit for that, ladies and gentlemen.
But my first match, I teamed with somebody.
Randy.
Was it Royal?
Randy Torres.
Oh, Torres.
Right. Do you remember who you beat just for giggles?
No idea.
Lennox Lightfoot and Mitch Johnson.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Dude, you got 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Not bad for someone who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Don't know. Don't know.
As we begin to wrap things up, what should folks be looking out for as far as you and your career are concerned?
As far as my career, what do you mean by that?
Folks that are following you and following OVW, what should they be looking for from you? You've had a variety of roles. You've had a variety of feuds. What should folks be looking for from you?
Just know that every time that I come out to that ring, whether it's backstage or in the ring, that I give 110% while I'm out there, and I'm usually the best thing on the show because I am the best at what I do in and out of the ring. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's all I can say about that.
You know what? That might sound cocky. It's not. He is one of the best, not only in OVW, but dare I say, around the wrestling world. Yep. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to watch Ring Generals. You can watch us on Facebook and YouTube. And please, don't forget to like us on Facebook and YouTube as we continue this Ring Generals series here. Tony Gunn, pleasure. Look forward to seeing more and more of you as your career continues to soar to new heights. So thank you very much.
Awesome. It's been awesome. Thank you for having me here.
And we thank you for joining us, and be looking out for our next episode of Ring Generals. Ding.
Shotgun Tony Gunn!